How goes it? This is Reseller Niche. My name is Mo, and on this channel we discuss everything to do with reselling, including selling on places like eBay and Amazon. This week I have 20 items that I sold online that helped me pay the bills, so let's get right into it. Number one, one that I've had on here in several past videos, Patagonia. I sell it pretty much every other day. This is basic performance, lightweight outdoor shirts, and in the title I have it listed as a green shirt, even though it is red. But the customer didn't complain, and I got positive feedback, so I got away with that one. But be careful and check your titles. This one was a 50-cent pickup, I believe, as part of a lot, and it went for $19.47 out the door. All right, the next one I have is a pickup that I have. I was in Savers in the Bay Area, I want to say 2 months ago, and I saw this on the racks there. I only picked up like 4 things that day, and this was one of them. I believe it was $4.99. Hasbro Operation Game Cavity Pajamas, top and bottom. It's an orange Operation pajama set, sold for $49.08 out the door. Took a couple offers that I rejected before I got to this one, so I was happy to see this one go, but I could tell from the previous solds that this one was going to go because there weren't that many listed. So always look out for that oddball stuff. All right, next up, another Patagonia shirt. I sell these, like I said, quite frequently. This one was part of the same lot that the first item was part of as well. Had 50 cents to $1 into it at most. This one sold for $39.66. Slightly better design on this one. And the reason I want to highlight this one is because it does have Montrail written on the front. I'm not exactly even sure what that is. I don't know if that's a company or a resort of some kind or something like that, or a train station. I have no idea. But anyways, it sold, and happy to see it go. All right, next up, this is a piece that I picked up quite a while ago. It was actually incomplete. I picked it up for, I believe, $5. It's a Poopsie Rainbow Surprise Slime Kit purse case thing. It opens up. It's supposed to be filled with a bunch of stuff. Most of the stuff, I believe, was not included in this one, so it's basically just a case. This one sat for a long time, so I was happy to see it go at $18.91 because I've had at least 3 people technically buy it but not pay for it. All right, next up, this is a Ken doll.
Hell yeah.
I pick up these frequently if I can pick them up for less than a couple of dollars. Fully clothed, but I'm not sure if it was complete exactly. But it's from 2012, some fashionista, had a vest. It's interesting enough, 99-cent pickup, I believe. So $21.09 out the door. If you can list it, if you can find something unique about it, list it. And if you can get it for cheap, obviously. All right, next up, this is a kind of a cool hat. I wasn't sure if I wanted to sell this or not. Had a nice NASA patch on it, vintage snapback hat. I'm not sure if this is originally a snapback hat that matched the patch, or if somebody just had a vintage snapback hat and sewed this on. But it was vintage, a vintage hat nonetheless. And I had maybe $1 into this. I believe I picked this up a long time ago. Sold for $37.62. I had this one listed for a lot higher before, but it just sat. So I was happy to see and take this offer when it came. All right, next up, I sell wrestling figures whenever I can, if they're sealed especially, and have a little bit of value. This one I picked up for $2.99 from, I believe, a Goodwill a few months back, and it's sold for $21.26. William Regal WWE Raw Draft Series. So Jack Pacific figure. Happy to see that one go. All right, next up, more golf stuff. I've been selling quite a few golf shirts recently, long sleeves and short sleeves. This one I had about $1 into. Sat for a while. It was part of a lot that I picked up previously, and it sold for $19.08 out the door. Nothing fantastic about this one, but Nike dry fit stuff sells for me quite frequently. All right. This t-shirt I picked up maybe about a month ago for about $1. Mark Maron WTF Comedy T-shirt. Maybe $1 into this one, $1.99 possibly. Sold for $19.28 out the door. And it had a mark on it, but still it sold pretty fast actually. So I was happy to see that go, and it's kind of mocking the vintage MTV logo on there. All right, this next one, I picked up 2 or 3 of these. I think this is the last one that I have, so I'm not sure if this is one that was in my previous What Sold videos. Diablo 1 and 2 Battle Chess PC game. I picked this up a long time ago. I believe it was an Amazon return, so I'm not even sure what I had into this one, but this one went pretty fast. It's the second one that I've sold pretty recently. Sold for $40.66 out the door. And this one I actually had sold it the previous week for I think $25 or $30, but the person didn't pay. Went back up for sale and sold in a few days for a lot more. So don't get discouraged if you get if you just have somebody who doesn't pay. It's quite common, unfortunately, on eBay. All right, next up, this is a piece that I picked up as a part of a lot. I had it was this case and some G.I. Joe action figures. It's a 1991 G.I. Joe figure collector's case. Popped open. It was empty. It didn't come with any figures, in my listing at least. And I'm not sure what I paid. I think I paid like $30 or $40 for the entire lot, including a bunch of figures. So if that breaks down, maybe I paid $1 or $2 for this specifically. This one sold for $31.95 out the door. And pretty light, relatively big, but very light and easy to ship. So nice box shape, excuse me. All right, next up is one that I love to pick up if I see them for cheap. Pennants. Doesn't have to be a sporting pennant. This is a vintage Hawaii 50th state anniversary pennant from the 1970s. It's felt. So I ship these flat. I should probably make a video on how I ship these. It's really, really easy, to be honest, depending on the size. This is 27 inches long, so it's slightly shorter than the usual 30-inch pennants. But you can support them with some cardboard and put that within just a flat priority box and ship it flat, and I've never had an issue with it. And once the weather gets bad, I tend to bag it before I do that, just in case any water gets in there, and I tape all the sides, so that's a double protection for you there. But I had maybe 50 cents into this. I bought this with a lot of other pennants, and it sold for $39.78. One thing I would say about this, unfortunately, I used to ship these first class, like I used to ship tennis rackets first class as well. You can't do that anymore because first class, even though something is under a pound, you have dimensional limits now. It's been over a year now, I think, for the USPS. So even if it says it gives you the option, and it still does on eBay, to ship this first class, when you click on it, the reason it's not letting you print a label is because that is no longer an option for USPS. I don't know what the exact dimensions are, but once you cross, I don't know if it's 15 or 20 inches by 10 inches or whatever it is, you cannot ship that first class anymore, even if it's under a pound. So if you run into that, that's why, and this one had to go priority. All right, next up, a comic book. I'm trying to learn about comic books. I still know next to nothing about these. I've been learning a lot from watching a bunch of other resellers like Dom, Time Treasure Hunters channel. He has a lot of good info about comics, comic books, how to store them, ship them, pack them, all that good stuff. So for me, I picked this one up in a lot. It broke down to about maybe 50 cents for this, which I know is a lot for comic book collectors. Usually they say pick them up for like 5, 10, 20 cents a piece, but I'm still learning. So Future Fight First White Fox #1. This one sold for $22.63 out the door. So until I get a little bit more confident and actually start researching bigger bulk buys, then my price will go down. All right, next up, this pair of shorts came with a lot of t-shirts that I bought way back in the beginning of the year. I had about 50 cents into it, and that's a Rutgers Scarlet Knights basketball pair of shorts. Sold for $30.90 out the door. So happy to see that one go, and it's pretty light, so it went first class mail. All right, this one was in, I believe, one of the few haul videos that I've done about sweaters. I picked this up about a month to 6 weeks ago. Vintage LL Bean lamb's wool sweater, a nice 4-button. I think they were leather buttons, or at least there were 4 buttons on there. Picked this up for a few bucks and sold for $63.99 out the door. Right now is the time to sell all your jackets and sweaters before people get stocked up with them while the weather is starting to turn cold. Get rid of them all now. All right, next up, this is a brand that I sell quite frequently if I have it. I don't pick it up too much anymore. Metal Militia. It's a t-shirt, and had about $1.99 into this, I believe. Sold for $26.18 out the door. And yeah, it's a brand, like I said, I've sold a lot of tank tops with this brand, but t-shirts do well too. All right, next up, I pick up vintage Fisher-Price whenever I can. One caveat to this, they do not sell overnight. This is going to be something that sits for a while. Vintage Fisher-Price goes for good money, but it will sit. And this piece took up a little bit of room. It was a slightly bigger piece. It's a Fisher-Price Imaginext boat, pirate ship. One good thing about this is it broke down, so I could break down the sails and that thing, so it wasn't this big. But make sure you put that in the description, because picture of fully made boat, and then when they get the boat, it's in pieces, and they didn't know about it, they will be angry. So how about $4.99 into this one, I believe, and it sold for $39.06. All right, this next piece I picked up at Thrift, I want to say 18 months ago. It was a while back. Paid about $5 for this one, and I didn't know anything about it. I heard people selling perfume and things like that. I've sold a little bit here and there, not much. Halston Z14 gift set of cologne spray and aftershave. It sold for $126.61. This is another one where I had multiple people technically buying it but not paying for it over the last year and a half. But this time somebody actually paid, so I'm happy to see it go. All right, next up, this is just a basic Nike t-shirt. I don't pick up as much Nike unless there's something interesting about this one. The interesting thing about this one is it was dirt cheap. I believe I had about 50 cents into this because it was part of a lot. So once it broke down, it was very, very cheap. Nice big logo, nothing fancy about it at all. $19.32 out the door. All right, and like I said, I'm selling more golf stuff. I'm still not very good at selling golf clubs, but this is like a golf pullover. I'm not sure what, I think it's nylon, like a kind of a lightweight pullover, a V-neck thing. And I'm not sure if it's vintage or not. That's why I didn't put that in there. But I had about $2 into this one, and it sold for $24.31 out the door. And golf stuff sells kind of the mid-year, probably from February, March to around this time of year, October. And then they'll take a break, obviously, because the weather dips. But I still pick them up if I can get it for cheap. So that was 20 items that I sold for cheap to pay the bills this week. And if you'd like this type of video, please check out our previous What Sold and our other haul videos and a bunch of other stuff we have on our channel. But until the next one, I will see you. Bye, guys.
Bye!